Welcome to the One Step Wealthier podcast, where I help you to get a little bit better every day and to achieve your financial goals. Follow along with me, and every week we will talk about all things personal development and personal finance. Together, we can get one step wealthier. Good morning and welcome to yet another One Step Wealthier episode. And last week we spoke about lifestyle inflation, about how when we earn more, we also spend more. And we are left in the same place in the end because we're not saving anything and we're not investing anything. Even though we earn a lot, if we keep our spending high, then we're left in exactly the same place. And today I wanted to talk about a new term that I made up, which is the lifestyle deflation. So what is a lifestyle deflation? So the lifestyle deflation is exactly the opposite from lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle deflation is that you keep your costs down consistently. And by doing that, you actually need less to become financially independent. So if you need less to live on, you actually feel more free. So as you know from the last episode, I got in a little bit of a spiral in my 20s and I used to aim for comfort, for luxury. I used to buy more expensive things such as perfume, expensive underwear, anything expensive. And I thought that owning things was it. So if I made it, I must have owned many things and I must have lived a life of luxury. However, I was noticing that those things did not really equal happiness for me. I wasn't any happier. I was just chasing more luxury things and buying the things, but they weren't making me any happy. Actually, I think it was the opposite. Once the thrill of the new thing wore off, then I was even more unhappy because I was chasing for the next thing to buy. So now, intentionally, I actually live on less. And I feel very fulfilled at the moment. So at the moment, I am working in security/reception, and my current job is mentally not demanding at all, but it is something that gives me peace and gives me time and mental space to create. And also, I wanted to give you the example of camping. Last year, I went on a hike through Scottish Highlands for 3 weeks. The trail is called Cape Wrath Trail. And I Googled it, and it is not very well known. And it was quoted as the hardest through hike in Europe, which for me didn't make any sense, right? How hard can it be, right? Scottish mountains aren't even that high. I was in the Pyrenees. I went to the Himalayas. I am going to Sierra Nevadas every year in Spain. How tough can it be? And it was tough. So the trail was muddy. It was raining. It was windy. I had some sunshine days, but other than that, it was really tough because there was no marked trail. It was tough. And what I've noticed is that when I go camping and when I go hiking, these small discomforts, that cold weather, the wet tent, I hate to have to pack my wet tent after sleeping somewhere in the wilderness. Those experiences actually ground me. And what I've noticed is that it made me appreciate the joys of the small things later on. It made me appreciate things like a bed, a hot shower, having electricity to charge my devices, things that we take so much for granted. And I remember when I came back home, I felt so lucky for having my room, for having my things, for it not being windy when I was inside my room and me being able to turn the heater on, to have a hot shower and so on. So I very much enjoyed my 3 weeks in Scotland, but then it made me realize how lucky I was with the little that I had. I think we take so many things for granted. We take the indoors for granted, beds, hot water, electricity. You've probably have seen in the news what happened in Spain and Portugal last week, that the electricity disappeared and everybody was in the panic mode. And I'm not talking about the people in the hospitals or who got stuck in lifts. I'm just talking about in their everyday lives. We take so many things for granted. Electricity is a luxury, but we don't see it as such. We think that luxury is something like Ferraris and jewelry and champagne and just very expensive trips, helicopters. We actually don't associate daily things like electricity or like a hot shower as a luxury. When I went camping in Scotland, everything was a luxury for me. And electricity, if you think about it, isn't absolutely essential for our survival. There are many other things that are much more essential than electricity, and electricity is relatively recent, and we have survived for thousands of years without it. It is true that experiencing less makes me appreciate more. So when I was in Scotland, I got stuck in a bothy for 24 hours because it was raining cats and dogs outside. The rivers were impassable. I was on my own and I ran out of food. And at night, I came to that bothy and I was so happy. I was the happiest person alive. That bothy was not the greatest bothy I've ever been. It was the Shenabal bothy in the Munros. But when I opened the door and I inspected the bothy, I found some canned food in there and that would help me survive for those 24 hours. And I was the happiest person alive because I didn't know how long would I get stuck there. So I was there for 24 hours. The next day, the weather was good. I could continue. However, those few cans of things, they actually made my day. They made my night because I was so hungry and I was so happy to see all that food left by someone in that bothy. So when you drop your luxury level and when you actually get exposed to the lifestyle deflation, it makes you appreciate very, very small things, insignificant things, so much more. And no, I was not out there in Scotland suffering. I had a great time. It was the most memorable hike I've ever had. It was stunning. It was just amazing. Everything was just so solitary, just so serene, and the nature was impressive. I did not imagine that Scotland would be like this. So I was not out there suffering. I was just choosing a simpler and freer life. And what I've noticed as well, that if I keep my lifestyle costs lower, there is less pressure to earn more. And I don't need to find a high stress job. I don't need to have a boss breathing down my neck. I have my peace of mind. It also allows me to have more energy for creativity, for podcasting, for personal growth, for translating books, and for reading books. So yes, lifestyle deflation doesn't mean giving up on joy. It's actually about choosing where your joy comes from. So I wanted to encourage you to reflect, what could you remove from your life and what could you simplify? And also, have you ever had any lifestyle deflation moments that you would like to share with me? Message me. I'm very, very curious. And if you found this episode useful, would you mind sharing it with someone who might like it too? The One Step Wealthier podcast grows one listener at a time, and it means so much when you share this. Thank you. And if this resonated and you want to talk about your money journey, I'm opening up a few free coaching spots. Just message me on Instagram, One Step Wealthier, or email onestepwealthier@gmail.com. No pressure, just a chat. And remember, the best time to invest was yesterday and the second best is today. And please note that I do not know your situation and this is not individual financial advice. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions. You have just invested in your personal development by listening to this podcast. Thank you for being here and helping yourself to become one step wealthier. Don't forget to subscribe to access new content every week and to better yourself. Stay wealthy, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.